the darkest night, we find our light. Battered souls, but we won't lose sight. Surviving together, never alone. Through every trial we carry on. Surviving together, never alone. Through every trial we carry on. Surviving together, we stand tall. United forever. Strength and courage will overcome. Surviving together, victorious. Never, never alone. Hand in hand, we'll face the unknown.
We see you, we hear you, and we believe you. Hey everyone, how you doing tonight? Welcome to Surviving Together, safe place for all us trauma survivors to land and connect together and have a good place to heal. Let's see who we've got here today with us. Well, so far we have Crystal and Shannon making an appearance. Glad both of you are here. I see a note from Crystal that she might know about her apartment by the end of the week. That is fabulous. This has been a long, long time in the making. So, Crystal, do you know, like, if you find out about your placement, how long it'll be before you can move in? I'm wondering about like that. Shannon, I did get David's travel dates finally. So as soon as I get done with this live, I'm going to be back on looking at flights because I do know that a lot of them have been taken in the last couple of days. Brian Cavossier, how you doing? What are you doing tonight? Are you guys getting dumped on like we are supposed to? We are supposed to get nailed tonight in a big storm. Not sure on the move, but assuming January. I mean, it'd be nice to just, for the rest of the month to be able to get your stuff together. And I mean, you've been going through this for so long, though. I'm not sure how much. Hey, Donna, good to see you. I'm really glad you're here. Lurker mode is totally okay. It's been a rough day for me, too. I'll talk about that in a minute, but absolutely lurk away. Hugs and love, and Jimena's been using 4s, angel hugs, angel good wishes, so we can do 4s for everyone who needs them as well. 7th, ahoy, how you doing? How you been tonight? Or today, I should say. Evening has just started. How much snow? That is going to depend on where you go. The closer to the lake shore, the more snow, and the farther south on the lake shore. This storm is tracking a little farther south. So actually, my town, I should not get a whole lot of snow. Maybe an inch, maybe. Just because it doesn't look like the lake effect is coming in that far east. However, I have to go to the lake shore tomorrow for court. So I get to drive in the storm in the morning. Yay! They're aware it's coming. We have plows. They should be out. So hopefully we won't, it won't be too big of a mess in the morning. And I don't have to be there till 11, which means I'll probably leave at like 9:45, maybe. Lakeshore schools. There will definitely be lakeshore schools that will have no snow, that will have a snow day. Here, doubt it. I doubt it. Janet, I sent you a message too about sharing that bird guy videos with your husband. He does a ton of them, and the guy's channel is a chick named Albert. Get it? A chick named Albert. And he does I gave you the biggest ones he's ever done, the emu eggs. He's done the itty bittiest ones too. It just was unbelievable. So you guys will get a kick out of it, I think. If you like birds, anybody else, there's a guy who's got a YouTube channel called Albert. He's like the sweetest guy you could ever hope to meet, and just takes care of these birds. And yeah, it was so cute. He was incubating some, and they were just adorable. He was doing emu babies. The eggs were like this. I mean, I've seen ostrich eggs before, and these were, all of them, but they were just this deep, deep emerald green. Prettiest eggs. Oh my gosh. So, so pretty. Hanging out with the sassy crew. Actually, we have the sass community here. Sass, S-A-S-S, and then the letter C. Sassy. We're the sass community. So we're sassy. Seriously big enclosure. Yeah. I don't think he keeps them much, but hanging out with the hangster. Well, glad you're hanging out and chilling. Looking forward to maybe cracking a bottle of wine here after this and enjoying some wine down. Maybe with Sticks if I get done early enough. I don't know how long he's going to be on. I don't know how long what we're going to be on. That kind of all depends. What else we got today? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, Deidre Gore, our lovely, lovely South African friend who is now, and what is it? Would it be an emigre to Ireland? She probably won't be with us tonight, and she's sorry she hasn't been around a whole lot, but she did want to say hi. She sent me an email and say she misses all of you guys. She just hasn't felt right in the chat, blowing up our chat with her personal stuff. But you guys knew that her car had broken down. Her husband had a heart attack, and he's going to be okay. But they're, just between everything that's been happening lately with her husband's sick and just a lot of stuff going on. So she says she's here. She's thinking about all of us. She's supportive of all of us. Give her some thoughts and some prayers to her and her family, and hugs, 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 hugs to them. Misha, you can be listening and trying to sleep, okay? Because I know you're probably still totally worn out from Thanksgiving here. I bit the bullet and I ordered a new camera. So we'll see. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I have not found a new webcam. I need a new webcam. As you can see, I've monkeyed with my coloring and it's just still not right. And I just think it's time for, this webcam is a gazillion years old. So it's time for some upgrades. I ordered some new lighting to see how that would work. A couple of different things. We'll see if something works, and if not, then we'll send both of that stuff back and we'll try again. Right? I mean, I think I can get away with the lighting issue here. I just don't feel like the image is as clear as it could be, or as on point color wise. It's got to make me look a little bit better in the winter because I've already lost any summer color I had, so now I'm left with winter pallor, which is why I'm trying to get down to Florida too, so I can get rid of some of this. So we'll see what happens there. But anything else? Yeah, hugs and love to all. I know that a lot of people are going through things right now, just with either sick loved ones. General Kamel, how are you doing? Glad to see you here. Oh, Misha, you're so kind and so sweet. Red is not my color, which this is actually red. This is actually like candy apple red, but does it look it? No, it kind of looks an orangey, burnt red. See, that's like, I'm irritated there. Yeah, I know. David was just like, and it's 62 here. And I was, okay, it's like 22 here. Not better. Not, no, won't be. uh, it's been a rough day for me emotionally. There's a lot of things that I've been keeping to myself, and I did have a doctor's appointment this morning, and good news is they cannot find a lump in my breast. So bad news is we still don't know why it hurts, but I do have a mammogram next week. Already had it scheduled. They made it diagnostic instead of routine. So we shall find out next week, hopefully, if there's anything going on inside there that I need to worry about. Shouldn't be. Should be all good. Had a lump before, but it's been fluid filled. And so we're hoping if there is anything, it's just going to be like that. But so far, it doesn't even look like there's anything like that. So we're just going to keep going with it. My estrogen levels are really, really low. My vitamin D levels are really, really low. So, yeah, might be getting on some hormone replacement therapy. I don't know. We'll see. I got a lot of moving parts right now with trying to get off the medication. You know, the medication I still want to get off, having just gotten off the other one. They're trying to decide how long I should wait in between the two. The guy I saw today was, I call him an intern. He wasn't. He was a resident, but it felt like a total newbie. He didn't know very much, especially about women's health. So it was kind of one of those, okay, nothing obvious is shown. We'll go Tuesday or next Thursday, the 12th. We'll go next week and we'll find out what happens there. So, what are you going to do? We'll just keep going on, but at least there's nothing that way. So we're feeling good. I hadn't broken down about it though, so I had to have a moment on the phone with David earlier today, and my son came home and his car is fixed. He's all excited. And I was so excited for him. I gave him a big hug and burst into tears. Felt so bad. You're the only other one in the house. So he gets my hugs when I need them. I drag them out of him if he doesn't want to give one. Yeah, I mean, I like my regular doctor. She's young too. She just had a baby. I think she's maybe in her 30s. But really for a doctor that's still pretty young, you just don't have a whole lot of experience under your belt. At least she's had a kid, so she'll kind of understand when I relate things in terms of feelings. But we'll wait until the ultrasound or the mammogram, and they have to do an ultrasound. They'll do one of those, and we'll just see from there. It's just always nerve-wracking, when you don't know things. But I'm glad that it pushed me to get my blood work done, which I had kind of been putting off, and we might get some additional vitamin work done to see what, kind of the old things are. We had my B12, and that was the only one, B and D. And I don't know if we ordered any other ones because those are the only ones that have come through right now. So we'll see if we do some other ones. Yes, Janet is finally feeling better. She was on death's door, but the plague has retreated for the most part. She just kind of has after effects. Hang on, guys. I need to grab some more water. All right. The best water filtration system that I've ever gotten. And I feel like I've tried nearly all of them, but the Zero Water, and they're not paying me, which they should because I use it often enough. I've already gone through 2 of the replacement filters for it, but it is bar none the best. And I don't like drinking water. I If there's minerals in there, if it tastes like Aquafina or Dasani, like Dasani just tastes salty. Aquafina, it tastes like it's got minerals in, like they added the metal. You can taste that. But yeah, the zero water pitcher, holy shit. I mean, and I've had the Brita pitcher before, and it's like, it was okay, but it still wasn't down to nothing. And it's funny because David had the Brita water pitcher, which is still here. So I had that, I had the zero water, I had the filtration system that's actually in the refrigerator, and then I've got my tap water. And we tested them all. And it was funny, it went in terms of purity, tap water being the worst. And my son's school water was like, he tested that in the spring before he graduated. Holy lords. He's like, this is why we don't drink water at school. I was horrified. But it went from there to the water filtration system that's in the refrigerator door, to the Brita pitcher to the zero. And the Brita was okay. I mean, it was pretty good, pretty darn good, but it wasn't that next step down. And even David, who is going to try and stop in tonight, he tried to stop in last time, and he's having difficulty for some reason when he's here actually getting to be a part of the live chat. Not sure why that is, but if he does get in, or on Saturday if he's with us, he was here. He can't, and he's like, whatever. And I'm like, no, seriously, it is the best glass of water you're ever gonna have. He's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And he grabs the glass from me and drinks and looked at me, and I went, right? And he goes, it's like, holy shit, that he goes, that really is the best tasting water I've ever had. I mean, bar Fiji. I even put it ahead of Evian. I like it as I like with my I have a friend who makes, well, a friend of a friend who makes moonshine, and I don't know if they filter how he filters the water. That would be really interesting. Janet, that's really all I got to say to you. You have water from the sand. Oh, from the sand dunes by the sea, the purest you can get. I bet that is pretty good. Brian, best to you. Best to Adam as well. Give him a squeeze. Of course, the advantage of living in the middle of nowhere is you have beautiful yards and yards and yards of land to look at. And birds, right? You've got birds. Lots of birds. You're not going to be living in the middle of nowhere for very much longer, girl. This next 7 months or so is going to go, like, and all of a sudden, I'm going to be looking at flights for British Columbia. So, Body Illusion, glad you're here with us tonight. How are you doing, love? How's your evening going? I saw that you posted again. You've just been a posting fiend lately. So you did get them, Janet? You got the geese? Are they okay? Safe? Happy? Nobody's gotten eaten? The last time she had some specialty birds come in, there was a little bit of an issue. They didn't all stay locked up. Oopsies. But those have got to be amazing. Yes. Bindu, good to see you, Bob. Good to see you. I hope you're still feeling good tonight. We're just talking about health issues. Um, all's good on my end as far as we can tell. So we're gonna go with that. And until I get news to the other until I get news saying otherwise, I am just going to presume we're doing great. So we're just gonna keep on keeping on until the mammogram next week. There. So, but if you ever have any questions about panic attacks or anxiety attacks, because they are two different things, but can be very similar, you're in the right place. A gazillion of people have had them and know about them and have had them at all different levels of severity. So just an FYI, I'm just throwing that out. Any Hoosers, we are going to get dumped on potentially tonight. I don't know if you are getting any more snow tonight, Thindu, but our lakeshore is going to get dumped on. Yeah, Shannon, they are different, and I would have to look up the exact definition as to why they're different, but they focus on the focus is slightly different in terms of where your internal feelings are. For all intensive purposes, I mean, how you're getting out of them and everything is the same. So, tomato, tomato, but technically there is a difference. Oh, thank you oh, shoot. Hang on. I told Shannon I was going to make her a wrench, and I failed to do that. And so I am going in my phone right now so that I can do this. Let's make sure the volume is off so that I'm not. Oh, I'm sorry. I just brought up my thing, and there's this man with enormous biceps. Looks like a good-looking man in bed with like 4 parrots, like big parrots he rescued. Aww. How sweet, right? How sweet. Okay, let's go into my channel. Let's do this. View here, live. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, if you guys are ever around at 1 p.m. Eastern, Shannon, who does have her own channel, and that's just been put up. She is going to start having content there soon, but on Jimena's channel, which is Magic. No worries, no worries. Hey, Teresa, how are you doing tonight? I'm glad you stopped by. Yeah, but what's her thing? Magic. Shanna, go ahead and throw up her channel. My brain is just blanking at this particular moment as to. I can find it this way, I think. Magic of Healing. That's it. Magic of Healing. Oh, thanks, Ned. Appreciate that. So yeah, at 1 p.m. Eastern, Shannon and Jimena go on, and they have the Comfort Corner, and they talk about comforting topics, mental health, basically mental health issues, but also some spirituality things, anything that's going to bring us peace and relaxation. They are all about over there. ALB, what's going on? My fellow barrister. Oops, not a wrench in this chat. Do you want a wrench too? I don't care. Everyone can have wrenches. I'll pass them out like Dindo does. About connection and healing. So same type of thing we do here in terms of wanting people to get together. Their subjects are just a little bit different. And you get a taco. Are you making them, Ned? Because I'm fresh out, but I would love a taco. But we all want connection. It's the thing that helps us heal. I was watching about some grief strategies today, and one of them being about connection. When you are so immersed in your own grief, so one of the best things that you can do for yourself is to go get involved with somebody else. Now, you can't say something else too, whether that's, a hobby, it can be painting, art therapy, music therapy, anything you enjoy. Those are all ways of calming ourselves down, making sure that, we're bringing our vagus nerve back down. But when we look out at other people, it's hard to be feeling sorry for ourselves and engaged in somebody else at the same time. And so if we can force ourselves to connect with somebody somehow, whether that is walking in the mall and talking to somebody else who happens to be looking at shirts nearby you. Oh my God, that's a great shirt. That color actually kind of looks good up near you. Complimenting somebody else, making somebody else's day, doesn't that put a little smile on your face as well? So it's these little things that you can do to get out of your own head, get into somebody else's space, and try and make a difference there. So focusing on that other person or focusing on that other activity to the exclusion of thinking, is everyone going to be interested in me and my grief and why I haven't been here or why I haven't said anything or, any of that kind of stuff. We really need to take that focus and put it on the other person. And even if you aren't interested in the subject matter of what's going on, is you can maybe be interested in the person. You may make a new connection. So whether it's a channel that you go through and you try hard to talk in the chat and to make connections that way. I've met so many people through Stiggs's channel, through Thindu's channel. Now, with all of these wonderful people who are coming in. Gina, hello. How are you doing tonight? Welcome. I'm glad you joined us. We're just kind of getting started. You can't get your computer, but you got it to work on your phone. Everyone, welcome the very beautiful David Steigerwald to our company here. Da, 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 da. The Loveray Company is David's company that he is just getting off the ground. So you'll hear more about that in the next few months, I am sure, as well as I will be the model for at least some of the clothing. I say my children, my son and his girlfriend really they're target ages, right? So stuff will be on there and going out to there. So yes, David, I found out Shannon, who is in the chat. Shannon, say hi to David. Shannon actually lives in Naples, so she's a little farther south than I thought she was originally. So just so now you guys have an idea as to where everybody is. You did not. You're such a fucking liar. You don't think it's better. You think it's okay, and therefore no reason to really switch. So you're content with your Brita, but it's not better. Holding you to it. I'm holding you to it. Da, 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 da. Oh, yes. Because we're trying to get everybody's shows here. I 100% don't mind. Throw your links up, promote yourselves, guys. It's the only way your names are going to get out there is if we talk to people about it. And when you're online, this is, the best way that you have to talk about it online. ALV actually did a whole bunch of stories. He did some Michigan ghost stories. So that was interesting. I had never seen this. I have to watch it on replay. I can't do it live because I do get scared. I'm such a wuss. I really, really am. Oh, hey, Gina. Yeah, I thought I met you in either Stigs or Theme Deals. I can't remember whose it was, but great to have you here. I love that you guys are finding out about this. And I said we were going to continue our grief series tonight, and we are. I'm open to talking about whatever in regards to grief. I actually didn't have anything specific prepared. I kind of prepared some stuff on complicated grief, trauma and grief, and we can talk about that. But if there's anything else that anybody wants to talk about or has a specific type of scenario that they want to bring up, feel free. I'm not married to anything with our topic, and I squirrel with the best of them. I'm learning to deal with my adult ADHD. I'm not great at it, but I'm getting to know some of my squirreling is an issue for me. Yes, David, I have ADHD. I admit it. Arlene, good to see you. How are you doing tonight? I'm so glad you're here. We are just at the beginning of talking about grief. And next Wednesday, I am going to start. Well, let me start with Saturday first. This Saturday is the first Saturday of the month. It's the 7th, okay? And it's Laugh Saturday. Every first Saturday of the month, we determined in October was going to be Laugh Saturday. We're going to give all the heavy stuff a break and just put up silly content and have a whole bunch of laughs. I have found a couple reels, one with some signs, one with some just fails, and one with jerry rigging engineering. I'll put it that creative engineering. And pretty ingenious, if you ask me, on some of them. On others, you kind of go, but hilarious, I thought anyway. Ned, be careful. Okay? Meaning, don't get sidetracked, go to bed. It is also Pearl Harbor Day, yes. And I think I have a periodontist exam that day too. So we'll just have stuff going on around us. No, I can't have it on the 7th. That would be Saturday. My brain just going. So Saturday is a fun day. So if you know anybody who wants to laugh, you guys come in after Thindu's show on Saturday. It's at 3 p.m. So he's got to start a show. Or Thindu, you have to start earlier on Saturday. Otherwise, you're going to be messing me up. All right. Never a truer statement has been made, I think, ALV says, I think we all have ADHD. Some of us just don't know it. And, that's how I feel, too, about trauma. Pretty much all of us have trauma. Some of us just don't know it. You may not categorize it as trauma, but it is. And you've been feeling the effects of it. You just don't know it. That leads me to next Wednesday. We are going to go to the ABCs of trauma. We are going to go back to the beginning, and we are going to talk about what is trauma, how does it affect you, does this trauma equal that trauma equal that trauma? So a little bit about trauma comparison in there as well. And it's just going to be a basic overview for anybody who either wants a refresher course or doesn't know much about trauma. Say, this is what it is, guys. It's physical, emotional, sexual abuse, and neglect. Chronic neglect fits in that category as well, along with any of your isms, racism, sexism, bullyingism, because I'm making it an ism. You know, did I say racism? Any of your other isms fall in that category too. Chronic exploitation with that. So we'll explore it. No, we're gonna make it, Thindu. You're gonna make it for a good long time. You got those cute little baby toes. You got those cute little baby toes to live for, right? Adorable grandson. Absolutely, Carmel. Physical or psychological trauma, definitely both. Hey, Polly, what's going on tonight? How you doing? What are you up to? You guys all had dinner? You on the East Coast? I always try and grab something before I get on here because otherwise I'm starving as we go through. So what do you guys want to do? What do you want to talk about? You want to do my grief thing that I've got set up about trauma and grief? Because it gets complicated. Trauma, any of that kind of trauma that we have in our past, that's unresolved, even if we think we've resolved it, a loss can trigger all that trauma all over again, depending on what type of relationship it was, how close they were to you, what your trauma was, what are your trauma symptoms, all of those kind of things. Polly, where are you? Are you in Australia? You must be then. Tell me where you are. Anybody else can narc on him too and tell me where he is. I think you're, because I know Kermal's over the other direction, right? Kermal, you're over Sweden or Netherlands, I think. So depending on your loss, depending on what your trauma is, the loss can trigger these traumatic events. And if you haven't dealt with them before, or even if you have, I mean, the dealing with it can be less significant if you have resolved the trauma than if you haven't. But it can still be, oh, you're in Scotland. I don't know why I thought the other direction. Okay, cool. So we've got Scotland, Ireland, Sweden, Netherlands. Rockin'. That is awesome. Yep, Crystal, we are going to do some more with grief with the holidays. I was going to focus a little bit on loss today because I know that Keela, did they have the memorial for, I went to bed early, so I didn't catch anything too late last night. Did they have the memorial for Doug Kramer on Mental Health Matters? Somebody can throw her show up too if you want, guys. She's got an awesome show that she does. Flickfox, oh hey, how you doing? Sorry, sorry. I was reading the thing up again. Gina, no worries. Definitely. We'll be here Saturday at 3 p.m. laughing our butts off. Hope you can join us then. That's my next live. Then next Wednesday at 6 p.m., we're doing the ABCs of trauma. That's where you'll find us. Hey, Polly. Yes. So we've got Flicks representing England for us. We're going to have pretty soon. We don't have anybody from Wales, do we? That would complete the United Kingdom, would it? I think. Or am I missing somebody there? I'm not sure. Okay, back to my thing. I keep reaching over here, and I'm gonna get through some of this for you guys. All right, let's talk about grief and trauma. Pretty much, if you've been on this earth a handful of years or longer, you've experienced trauma. It's just the way it is. We're all going to experience trauma in our life. It's how we deal with it. The type of traumas that we have are all going to be individual. Our ability to deal with it, just because we want to be able to deal with it a certain way, doesn't mean we're going to, just because of who we are and our makeup and our past experiences. So whenever we have trauma in our lives, if you haven't dealt with it, more than likely, you're going to be a bit more of an emotional person. And I say this because for people who are trauma survivors, we in general run on yellow alert. We're just a bit more on point, on guard, checking things out than the next person. And that's wearing and it's exhausting. And we're going to react emotionally, usually first, before we can have a chance to get our rational brain on track and deal with something in a different manner. Because we tend to be a little bit more emotional, when we have a loss, when our sensitivities are already heightened, that loss, we just are going to feel it so much more intensely. So you can imagine if it's somebody who's really close to you, how heightened that loss can be. Even for an acquaintance, that loss is heightened. So somebody else might go, okay, but you didn't know him all that well. That doesn't matter, you're going to feel it on such a deeper level and feel that loss. Because for a lot of us, let's say it's a friend or it's a part of our support system, our support systems may not be that big to begin with. So when we start losing people within that, it's a big, big deal for us, right? So our past experiences, our past trauma, that can be, hey, Jimena, glad you're here. So here's the other part of the Jimena and Shannon show that is otherwise known as the Comfort Corner, that is daily during the week. It's a wonderful thing. Guys, I'm rearranging myself because unfortunately my pillows aren't doing the job anymore, my back pillow and my butt pillow. So I'm stacking them. I have 2 of them now, which I've ordered new ones of those as well. So we'll see what comes because I definitely needed those. And we'll see what happens there. But so we've talked about triggers. We've talked about our overwhelming emotions. The other thing that can happen with those of us who have had trauma in our past, who have not been able to put it all to bed or deal with it, is this can bring on what's called complicated grief or complex grief. And I'm just going to briefly mention it here because I want to get to some of the other things. And that is a topic in and of itself. And complicated grief is where people really struggle to move through the grieving process because instead of being able to just naturally move through our process, which we know the grieving process, it's not a straight line, right? It's up and down and back and forwards, but there is an ebb and flow to it. There is a natural way that we would go through it and that we would be taking our steps. If you have complicated grief, that is going to disrupt our processing of our grief because we are so focused on any number of particular aspects of this grief and how it's affecting us. And we can't get off of that point. So we can get stuck in certain places and in certain phases of grief. And this leads to what they call prolonged grief, which is the official name in the DSM-5 now. So they actually have made it a diagnostic tool. Is not what it's an official diagnosis. That's what I guess I wanted to say. Yes, it's very, very real. And it can last for years. It can literally get people stuck in their grieving process for years and years if you're not able to move on from that stuck place. So I'm just going to say that briefly, and we'll dive into it a little bit more. If we have time today, we can do it today. Otherwise, next time we deal with grief, that's still on my list of things to do. Trauma has a certain way of distorting our perception of ourselves mainly. But that can also lead to a want to deny that a loss has occurred. And the reason for this is because we will often blame ourselves and get stuck in the, what if I had done this, or what if I had done this, or what if that had happened, or what if that had happened? And we get so focused in this mode that we're not even getting to the point of accepting that the loss has occurred. We're trying to figure out all the ways that this could have been avoided. Great for the next one. However, this is not going to help the person who is currently deceased, and nor is it going to bring them back. Therefore, we need to accept the fact that somebody has been lost to us. And now where do we go? There was a person who was on a therapist show, and he was talking about in improv, there's something called yes and, meaning yes, you acknowledge what the other person says, and then you add something to move the scene forward. And they were talking about this in terms of grief and how employing this can help you get unstuck, or to even just help your natural grieving process move along. That by acknowledging, yes, this person was deceased, or yes, this person is gone, whether that's gone from my life permanently because they've died, because there's been a break in a friendship or a relationship, maybe it's temporary, but whatever it is, if you can acknowledge the loss itself, you'll be able to look on and move on to the next step. Let's say you're in depression, acknowledging, yes, I am depressed and I'm going to do this. Now, what's our and? Our and is, well, how do you get out? What's the opposite of depression? The opposite. But what's something that's going to help depression? Connection. Anything that is going to engage our sympathetic nervous system, right? I learned an excellent trick. I'm going to show you actually right now, guys. And this is for dealing with anxiety. Excuse me, my eye. This is not part of it, by the way. I'm just rubbing my eye. It has to do with the ear. This is for decreasing your anxiety quickly. So if you're starting to feel anxious, if you're starting to feel panicked, this actually disrupts, activates the vagus nerve. So our sympathetic nervous system that we want activated, if you push your finger right inside your ear opening, okay, don't stick it down your canal, but just right inside your ear opening. And I forgot about doing this tonight. I would have liked to have brought a picture up of where the vagus nerve runs in there. But if you push and you push down, so you want to push down with your finger, and I just hold for about 5 seconds or so, and then gently, but still firmly, you can just roll in some circles. And what you're doing is you're just massaging that nerve, basically, going, okay, yep, you're there, yep, you're there. And you can push down and hold like one more time. And you do it on both sides, okay? You have to do it on both sides because you do have vagus nerve that runs this way and the one that runs this way. So you need to do it on both sides. And then, again, do some circles, push down again. I tell you, I do feel like taking a deep breath when I get done with that. I've tried it several times now, that being another time, and I'm amazed. I really am amazed at how much better I feel. Now, whether it's enough to say I'm not going to take my medication, or did it do everything I needed it to do? I don't know, but it certainly helped. So I wanted to forward that on to you guys. Kermel says his mother has complicated grief after losing 2 sons. I do not doubt it. I learned a bunch of different sources of complicated grief, and it was pretty interesting. I do want to pull that up as well. Okay, so when I was doing some of the research for complicated, complex grief, there was one therapist who was talking, and you always heard it in a lot of them. They always said, well, if you have unresolved trauma, that's one way to get complicated grief. And it certainly is. And every now and again, I'd hear somebody add something else. This one had the most complete list that I could see of the different reasons as to why complicated trauma may come up. So one, your unresolved past either trauma or unresolved grief. Because if you've got one unresolved grief and then you're adding another one onto it, you didn't deal with that grief in the first place, you're going to get stuck with the same, in the same spots the next time. Crystal, go deal with your headache. That is most important. I know I woke up with one the other day. We understand how horrible they are. Please replay Cruet, and we'll be talking about the subject again as well, okay? So best to you. On top of camp syndrome, I don't know what that is. CAMP? It's an A. I'm not familiar with that. Oh, literally mean camp, I think. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I bet. I bet that's rough. We have a sub who lives in Germany, and this is a topic that we have talked about actually with intergenerational trauma and how the wars and people who were either just present in the war, but particularly for any of the camp survivors, how difficult this is. And there's been studies done on the intergenerational trauma and the trauma that was actually encoded into these people's DNA that they've now passed down through generations. So there's some trauma that you probably got, Carmel, that you didn't want, but it just got part and parcel probably in your DNA and in your parenting. And it's a really interesting subject as to how long they think that it could last and how difficult but slash easy it is to disrupt that cycle. But gosh, you've got to know a lot about yourself before you have kids and start talking to a younger generation. Obviously, now there is so much, and not because my son is now grown, but there is so much I have learned in the last 2 years that had I known prior, even though I wasn't in the greatest headspace the last 10 years, I still think I would have done some things differently just because I have an understanding of either where I was, where my son was, where my ex was. So Flick says she just tried the ear thing and holy moly, she felt that. I don't know, but something happened. Yeah, I can't tell you exactly, but good. I'm glad. Hopefully it'll work. Hopefully it'll keep working for you. Let me know. I'd be excited to see on Saturday if you can stop in and let me know if you've done it anymore between now and then. Um, yeah, it's with the camp issue. Even there's a doctor. His name's Gabor Mate, and we've spoken about him before. He's really done a lot of work in the trauma and the addiction fields, and he admits he is a war baby. He was given away during the war to save him from being killed in a concentration camp. His mom gave him to a complete stranger on the street when he was 4 months old. And it was not until years and years and years into his adulthood that he realized the depth of his abandonment issues and how that affected his life and the choices that he made, the subconscious decisions that his body and brain made on his behalf, the trauma that he ended up passing down to his kids because he didn't understand the trauma that he had within himself. So it's really fascinating to me to start looking at this generational thing. Yes. Jimena just got an itty bitty baby kitten. And I just saw a thing last night, a short on how somebody like saved one. It was like just like a few days old or something. And it didn't even have fur at that point. And they saved it and were hand feeding it and everything. And it turned into just this little snowball. That's so cute. Just so adorable cute. All right, from adorable cute back to complicated grief. So what are other ways that complicated grief can arise? Well, we talked about unresolved trauma, past, loss that you feel responsible for. This is one way that we don't get through the grieving process because we're putting it all on ourselves. No need to apologize, Kamel. It is an important area to study, but I'm so glad that you have, uh, so glad that you've made it through, that you've been able to deal with. Because tough subject if you haven't. So what am I saying? Okay, loss that you were responsible for, that can get you stuck really easily. When the narrative is constantly, oh man, I it should have been me. It should have been me. I wasn't there when I said I would. It should have been me. Or that if I had been there, if I had only been there and taken better care of him, this wouldn't have happened. So putting all of that on ourselves, which trauma survivors, woo-wee, aren't we great at that? We are some of the biggest martyrs in the world because we're used to it. We're used to having to say sorry for everything. We're used to always bringing on ourselves because one, we have control over it then. And two, it's easier. Placate, right? Let's placate everybody. I'll take it. It's my fault. I'll deal with it. I'll handle it, the repercussions from it or whatever. And that's how we've lived our lives. Me, anyway. That's how I lived a good portion of my life. Much easier to take it on than argue about. I argued enough. I would say I still argued. Another reason can be an invalidated loss. So you're judging your own self for your loss. Like, I shouldn't be this upset about it. I wasn't that close to the person. Or I've seen this. It's been a long time coming. It's a drawn out disease. There's no reason. Or could be cultural reasons, say, your family's culture or the way that they feel either about this particular person or that particular relationship. And that can go for what they also call ambiguous or hidden losses that aren't seen or acknowledged by somebody else. So when it's not important to anybody else, say this is something that's just important to you, or it's a loss many other people didn't know about, and that can feel very isolating because you don't have that larger support system who's constantly clamoring at you and wondering how you are and, trying to be with you or do something in that space. Delayed grief. Delayed grief can certainly cause complex grief because you're basically having to deny, right? You're not even getting to the denial stage because you're having to put the whole thing on hold to deal with other people. Whether you've delayed your grief because okay, there you go. There's my ADHD going. I got 14 scenarios going on in my brain at one time. Let's say you're in the middle of a war, right? Somebody dies. You don't have the luxury of grieving them. You might have something similar going on in your life. Maybe it's just the circumstances of your life. You don't have spare room to be dealing with this loss right now. And so maybe you personally put it off. Maybe it's because you can't, because you're dealing with everybody else's feelings about the loss. You don't have time to actually deal with it yourself and to start going through your process. So your grief can be delayed. Cumulative grief. This is another reason why we can get into complex grief. This is a situation when you have loss after loss after loss after loss within a short period of time. Some of the people I was listening to One woman had 7 people close to her die in 24 months. We're talking husband, father-in-law, mom, dad, I mean, sister, aunt, we're talking close people, people she was close with. 7, that's a Nike's load, So my heart goes out to people who that has happened to, because I know that there are people who may be listening to this or will be listening, people I've spoken with this past year, that are just wondering when the next shoe is going to drop, because it seems every time they turn around, there's been another loss. This can delay your grief because you basically go numb, and that is your coping skill. And maybe just about the time you're getting ready to deal with something, another one drops. So when you've got this kind of cumulative effect going on, very difficult to say, okay, now I'm going to grieve. What usually ends up happening is there's kind of this time period, you get through something and you go, okay, nothing's happened for 3 months. Nobody else is sick. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can start some grieving now. It's got to be a conscious effort, actually, at that point. Sudden or traumatic losses can also cause complicated grief. You can actually have such a traumatic loss that you get thrown straight into the disruption of your life. This loss, your feelings, how you're dealing with it, not dealing with it, is totally disrupting all of your processes, all your attempts to actually go through this. So that's 7 right there, reasons as to why you could have complicated grief. And when I started this, I had just heard about, well, if you have childhood trauma, you probably get complicated grief. And then this kind of notion of, well, cumulative grief versus complicated grief, is it different? Technically, but one can lead to the other. Oh gosh, Carmel. Can we just put up some more fours for everybody who has had loss like this? I can only imagine having that many deaths in 1 year. I have not had that many. I know people who have had 6, 7, 8, and it's just been really difficult. That's eeks. So you guys know that there's some of our subs who we've lost several people that have been close to our communities during this past year as well, and it's always something that can happen in a mental when you're part of a mental health community, whether we're losing somebody for mental health reasons or to addiction reasons or just to general loss. A lot of loss that we can deal with. Hey Barbie, how you doing tonight? It's no worries. You can catch the replay. We kind of talked a little bit about our lives and nothing at the beginning, and then gotten into a little bit of trauma and grief and talking about complicated grief. This complicated grief truly needs its own live where I'm coming on and we're going to talk nothing other than complicated grief, because there's a lot to it, and I want to be able to go over all of it. Barbie, that sounds awesome. That is actually what I am going to be doing when I get off this live. I am going to go get probably some hot tea and then curl up in bed. Barbie is in Canada, so she's with us with our Northern Climes people. And I would love to do that as well. Chai tea is my favorite kind of tea. I would love to be able to make it myself, but in the meantime, I will accept Twinings packets. Uh, but I absolutely Kenyan tea. They're the tea that they grow there for export is great. It's a black tea. I love it. And they're the chai tea that you make is just, uses their tea, their black tea, and then you add all the spices to it, and they put it on the burner in the morning on the stove, and it stays there all day, and it's so good. You like it too, Barbie? It's yummy. It's funny because it's the first thing I'd ever had cardamom in, and cardamom is, if you've never had that spice, it has a particular flavor. And I liken part of it to maybe a little bit of a black licorice, but not really. It's like black licorice meets caraway seed, kinda. Has anybody else have a better explanation of cardamom if they've ever tasted it? The only reason is squirrel. It just brought up when I was in Mombasa, Kenya. It's just on the Indian Ocean coast, and we were there, and we had such a long day, and I wasn't into wanting to wonder how old the mutton was or anything. They had spaghetti on their list, and I said, fine, give me spaghetti. And they made spaghetti, but they made it with cardamom seeds. So they boiled the noodles, and they had cardamom seeds with them, and they had chunks of tomato, but it was like a chunk tomato, olive oil, this cardamom. Oh my God, it was so good. You couldn't eat the cardamom. It was too much with the, popping those seeds, but just the flavor that you got from it. Okay, blow drill first. Hello, hi, welcome. And you'll see that in every video description is my email, survivingtogether.sas@gmail.com. I would love if you would write down your little steps for how to make chai from scratch with the cream. Please? Pretty, please? Cardamom, yeah, it is similar. Fennel definitely has more of a licorice taste than cardamom does. Yeah, that cross between, definitely not an anise, but yeah, like a fennel and a caraway seed. It's more mild. I can't explain it, but blow drill, I would absolutely love it if you would send me that recipe. That would make my that okay. You make the base and it saves for about a week, and then add the cream and the honey as you make it. Okay, I'm in. I'm in. Just send me the base. I can add my cream as we go. I'm good at that. I'm no worries. But yeah, send me how you make the base. I would be forever grateful. That would be fabulous. Chai means tea, and we find it's funny that we say tea. It's true. Chai does mean tea. Um, yeah, it's just a way of explaining the exact type of. Hey, as long as they're okay with it, I will share the recipe with anybody, but I got to get it first. So I don't care. I will go to the ends of the earth, and I will have people send me stuff if I can't find them. But I will definitely endeavor to get everything fresh. But yeah, I know that can be a challenge, but I'm up for a challenge. No, it is a little bit of focus. It's my camera. the camera's old. So if you guys want to donate for a new camera or to help pay for StreamYard, do. I'm on PayPal at Surviving Together. It's the only one that I have right now. But I do need to get a new one. So the coloring, you should see between the app for the camera that I have on my laptop, the coloring difference between that and then what I see when it reflects me up here is so different. So no, it's not you, unfortunately. It is me. And so I'm definitely looking about getting a new camera. That is on my list of equipment upgrade. All right. Let's just talk a little bit more about trauma and grief. And, kind of as I was talking, I'm like, this can really be for anybody. And then I got thinking to myself, okay, well, this is because I say anybody has trauma, right? Anybody can have trauma. Well, lots of people do have trauma. They just don't realize it. So what other types of things can... Oh, Carmel, that's fine. That is fine. I don't see now. It's funny that you say this, Carmel, because you say now PayPal isn't available in the Netherlands. But where's James Simpson from? Because he was trying to do PayPal and he said he couldn't do anything but PayPal. I just find this is interesting across the globe that some are being allowed to do one and some are being allowed to do others and not this one. It's really weird. You're in England. Okay, so oh, well, you said Scotland, right? Because Flix is actually in England. So I'll give you Scotland. I'll give you UK, though. England. Wait, I'd like to help you out. PayPal is not available in the Netherlands. Where are you? I'm in England. Okay, I'm confused. But it's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll try and work a few more hours. And that'll get me. Oh, James is in England. I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I find it interesting. I'm learning about this, that Cash App's only available in some place, the PayPal, and then Venmo. I don't know if anyone is limited to Venmo or if that's excluded from anybody's country, but it's been weird starting to talk to different people. We're glad that I don't talk to my fridge body because I'd have to use my phone for that. And my phone is even worse. It's just god awful in terms of my the focus on my... I don't know why. It just does not seem to work very well. Avoidance behaviors. Do you think we're good at this, trauma survivors? Any of my trauma survivors out there who recognize themselves as trauma survivors, can you see anything that we do that is avoidance behavior-ish? Yeah. Denial, isolation, refusing to engage in conversations about the loss, putting away everything that reminds you of a particular person so you don't have to deal with it. Anything that is going to keep the thought of the loss out of your brain. So whether that's physically or mentally limiting yourself as to what you see or what you do or who are you with, our avoidance behaviors become a way of denial. There you go. Put it in an empty closet in your brain and leave it there. And we think this will work, right? But what's the one thing we've learned about trauma? You can't contain it. You may think you can, but it still ekes out and it leaks into different parts of our lives and it infects it. And we don't understand why we're doing this. We don't understand why we have that emotion. We don't get why that's happening. Where when you start peeling things back, you go, oh, it's that box I shoved in the attic in my brain that I was hoping that I would never have to untape again. Looky there. Even though the box was made out of stone, it's still creeping out cracks. Yeah. The closet gets full. It does get full when we shove so much stuff in there, doesn't it? Something's got to give at that point, right? Yes, 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 yes. Um, they titled this, and I looked at it in several different contexts, and they all speak of it in terms of an altered self identity, or really, I look at it in terms of how do you look at yourself? Okay. In regards to complicated grief and our trauma, when we're talking about loss, particularly if that loss reminds us of something traumatic, say it is a past abuser, or it's a situation, a feeling, a place, even the type of death that reminds you of a past loss. These any of those and having those triggers can really make us look inward, feeling our guilt, our shame, any of our own deficiencies. And this is where we get a lot of the blaming ourselves for the loss, even though there's nothing you legitimately could have done about it. So these ideas of who we are, who we think we are, how we've dealt with things or not dealt with things in the past, really can deeply shape our ability to deal with our future traumas, our future losses. Because most losses in general are on the scale, they're a trauma on a scale. It might be something that you can deal with easier. Sorry, guys, my nose is itching like crazy. When this happens, it means I've got allergies. So I'm not sure what I'm allergic to in my house, but something. Oh, now that's interesting. So Flick says Cash App stop. Don't think we had Venmo. Pretty much just have to use PayPal. Interesting. Yeah, that can happen, Kermel. Memories, floods of feelings at that time. Giant hugs going out to you. Okay, giant hugs going out to you. I've been thinking a lot about loss these days, not only because so many people here have lost somebody recently, this year, 2024, but also because my parents are older. My mom's not in the greatest of health. My dad's been my dad's been having a few more struggles. So I'm kind of worried about him because he's the last person on the universe who will tell you that there's really something wrong. So I'm prepared to just get that phone call about my dad one day that he's just gone. My mom, we know she's in poor health. Don't know why. Just have to keep pushing the doctors. and hope that they will try and get down to the bottom of it and not just leave her on maintenance, because she's older. No problem, Tommy. We'll be joining you in the wind down in a little while. Hope you got your stuff done. Definitely. Flix, this is natural, right? This is natural. There are just certain situations that we are going to look inward at. It's when we can't get out of that stage and we can't go on and start working through our stages, our denial, our anger, our bargaining, our depression. When you can't get out of the blaming yourself and going through the what if stage, then we've got a real problem. But I think it's definitely natural to wonder about this. I mean, even say you're with somebody who's got a longer term, disease. They could go at any moment. But you're the one who comes there every day and is their main caretaker. You were late one day. You felt like, had I just, when somebody unalives themselves, the guilt can be immense, excruciating. Especially if it's a type of situation where I think about an acquaintance, somebody who I knew, not great, but who I knew. Much different when you have it, when it's a close family friend or a close friend of yours, a relative. This is the closest that I have, is that I felt incredibly guilty because I thought that, if I had been more compassionate, if I had set some time aside for this person, if maybe I had gotten to know this person better, maybe I would have been able to help, but I didn't reach that branch out. And that bothered me incredibly. And it wasn't, for me, it ended up not being the loss that I had to deal with so much, but it was the all the triggering from the survivor aspect of putting it on me, and let's blame myself and let's make everything about me. Not really knowing, what this person had been going through, as to whether or not I could have made a difference at all. So many of you guys have had so much more loss and in such heartbreaking ways that I just, it kills me. Oh, blow drill. Yeah. Not being told about a loved one's passing. You're not the first one I've heard that from. That because of disconnection, dissociation, whether it was voluntary or involuntary on the person's part, not being able to start your grieving process with everybody else, not being able to grieve with those other people who knew that person, who loved them like you did, or at least had that background, with you. I can't imagine having that type of disconnection. And not being told. So my heart goes out to you. My heart absolutely goes out to you. I hope that you've been able to pick up that loss and look at it now, and start that healing process. Hugs, hugs, hugs. See, and this is why people flock here, because we have such a great time. I have to laugh and show you guys that, we can talk and, not have tears. But I know it's a lot of 9 times out of 10, what we're going to deal with here is heavy subjects and people. That's what we're here for. Okay? We're here to connect and being able to talk about the shit that other people don't want to hear about, right? You poured into your children and healed by being the parent you never had. That is wonderful. That's great. Hey, Crystal Phoenix, what's up, girl? I owe you some writing, but I don't know when I'm supposed to have it to you. And I need guidelines about it. And I promise I will do that writing. 7th. Oh my gosh. Thank you, 7th. Thank you so much. Do I have your channel? I think I subscribed to your channel. I didn't do these paintings. My paintings would make people who make stick figures look like really good. My brother got all of the art talent in my house, but I absolutely love these. One is a painting from, which way do my fingers go? I can't ever get it. The blue one. I believe I got that in Curacao because I can't actually remember now. And the other one is a friend of a friend. Got it from my friend. Got it from the person who painted it. Just a picture from the beach in Cape and Brack at this one condo complex that we used to stay at. My friend had her condo, and I loved the painting. And it was not for sale. And my friend convinced her to sell it, and she rolled it up and mailed it to me one year. A canvas. I was a little cried when I got it. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, cool. All right, great. Yeah, just contact me. Give me a call or yeah, give me a call or email me. And then if I move my head, then you can see all the pictures right above my chair, and those are all my underwater pictures. So absolutely. Been ages since I've dove, and I love diving, and I need to get this my big one actually put up. It's now just sitting on my chair there, but I have to actually string a thing across the back, and it's anybody else have a gazillion empty or undone projects in their house? I'm still working on it, and now I'm supposed to put up Christmas and Hanukkah stuff. Now I got more stuff. I just got my living room clean. Now I've got to put the tree back up that I just got moved to the storage unit. Thanks, Mock. Love you. So glad you're here. I hope all is going well for you. I know it's later over there for you. A million projects. Ugh. I have figured there's absolutely no way to keep my kitchen floor clean. My son works in a welding shop. I've given up on the kitchen floor. Sorry, David. I've given up on the kitchen floor. It'll be clean when you get here next. But I've given up on the kitchen floor. The sink, however, is staying clean, mainly, pretty much, for the most part. We're doing good. We're doing good. We're doing good. Mark, how is everything going for you? Tell me what the latest flavor of tea that you have drank. I would absolutely love to know. Isn't this the truth, Barbie? Oh my gosh. We walk around, I set aside a day or some hours or whatever. I'm going to clean stuff, right? So my laundry needs to get done. All right, let's take the laundry downstairs. Well, on my way downstairs, I notice, the coat that's not hung up. So let's hang up the coat. So you go to hang up the coat, and then it's like, oh, look, this one and this one I don't wear anymore. And we've got a pile started for donations. So I should probably just take those out and add those to the pile. Take those out, throw them on the nearest chair or whatever, to be able to add those to the pile. And then, and it just goes on and on and on. And then finally you're like, oh, shit, I haven't even started the laundry yet. Okay, so I had never seen this done, Mock, until I was, my son was like in first grade. And we went over to a friend of his house, and they had a huge one. And we're talking, a decent, like 8-foot tree, fake tree. But yeah, all year round, it'd be Valentine's Day, and you could put shamrocks on it for March, and every month, or if there was a particular holiday that they might do something for it, she changed it out. And I was like, dang, that's dedication. That's way more than simplicity is good for me because I don't like a lot of stuff to take care of. So I'm learning to whittle down. Ooh, whiskey cream tea. Now that sounds good. That sounds good too. Oh, Crystal, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Hey, Hollywood, how you doing? What's going on? How are you this evening? We've just been chit-chatting here about grief and trauma, and oh, perfect. That's when my phone beeped. Thank you. Flick, my guess is if you're looking at all the stuff, probably Misha's The Village site in the community tab would be my guess. Otherwise, it's going to be whatever we post in our own individual community tabs. Beyond that, I don't think that there is. If anybody else has any information or ideas, let me know. And that is with just using YouTube as a platform. If we're going to go look outside of that, then we've got some other access issues. Take care, Barbie. Toodles. I want to see it if you make it. Darth Vader and Stormtrooper Christmas tree. My mom saw a dragon Christmas tree this year, and it had all these dragons and fantasy stuff, but then it had this huge dragon head coming out of the front. I'm not even sure it was actually real or an actual kit they could buy. I'm almost like if somebody just did the tree and then maybe with AI or something put the dragon head there. You know what I mean? I'm I'm still not sold on the fact that that you could do it, That's great. Just ever noticed how the Toyota RAV4, the white Toyota RAV4, looks like a stormtrooper face in your rear view mirror? Yes, I think we have. It'd be awesome. I, when we get closer to Christmas, it'd be something we could share. What are our dates? Hang on a second. I want to look at what our dates look like in here because I can't remember. Christmas is on a Wednesday, 3 weeks from now. So it'd have to be the 21st, the Saturday before Christmas, and Hanukkah starts the 23rd, so it's before then. Kwanzaa's afterwards, so I think we'd be okay if we did it by the 21st. So, guys, if you want anything from Christmassy, holiday season, peace be with you, New Year's, if you want to send me any pictures, surviving together, sass@gmail.com, I would be happy to put them together into a little collage or some posts that I either share with you guys here on the stream or maybe I share on our community post, something of that nature. 21st is when the book comes out. Oh my gosh, that is so awesome too. That is cool. So yeah, take a picture of your Christmas trees, guys, when you get them up, or your house, or your menorah, or whatever. If you're Send me a picture of your favorite Christmas dish. It doesn't have to be one you made. If you don't do anything for the holiday season, that's fine too. Carmel, I'm going to guess that somebody decorates around your place. I'm betting something in Scotland has some decorations. You could send me some cool pictures from Scotland. That would be neat, even if you yourself don't do it. Crystal, is that the one that you want me to get into? Is that the one you want my writing for? For this book or a different book? Oh, that'd be so cool, Mark. I'd love to see pictures of that. Oh, can you imagine if your horn was the Imperial March? Okay, so for this one, just the poem. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, call me tomorrow. We'll talk about it, and I'll get you whatever you need in regards to it. So, woohoo! That is exciting. All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there because otherwise I'm going to get onto a different arena talking about grief. I know that wasn't a real structured talk about grief. We will be dealing with more on grief in the holiday season in the coming up weeks. Well, you could send me pictures of a stormtrooper car. That would be absolutely awesome. But I was just talking about sending me pics of your Christmas tree or your menorah or pictures in your town where you are, some seasonal decorations or, peace be with you or New Year's celebration, anything, anything, See you, Crystal. Talk to you later. Anything that speaks, holiday season, joy, cheer, whatever. Just they're pretty lights, basically. Don't have to look at them for Yes, car photos, please. Oh my goodness. Well, I'll leave you and Janet to talk. Um, Scotland would be a problem because you're in the Netherlands. That's right. God darn it all. Kremel, I got a handful of you new ones, okay, who aren't in the US or Canada. And I'm having a hard time getting you straight now. Okay, so if there's anything in the Netherlands you'd like to send me a picture of, I'd love it. Because I don't even know where in the Netherlands you are. I'd love to see how some other place celebrates. That'd be cool. Or if you find any hilarious photos of something gone wrong, you can send those in. We may save those for the first of January. First Saturday in the January would be, or we might actually do it on the 1st of January because that would be a Wednesday. So, Max says our favorite cafe has a light magic theme this year. Old houses and lights. Ooh, I bet that is so pretty. See, pretty lights are your fave, Flick says. Yeah, I mean, at the ballpark, they just, since they have those huge parking lots, and they'll just put up displays and you pay however much for the car load to go through and just drive it like 2 miles an hour and just look at all this. I mean, there's so much to see, and there's just pretty lights making pretty patterns. I think they're cool too. Groningen, in the northeast of the country. Well, I will have to look up where that is. Excuse me. Netherlands is one place that I have always wanted to visit, is definitely on my bucket list. There is, of course, Anne Frank's house that I want to visit. That is extremely important to me to see. So I do want to, and there's multiple other places within the Netherlands that I want to see, but I just know that that's the one thing that comes to the top of my mind that I want to make sure to see. Yes, Kremel is in Germany, in the middle of nowhere, Germany. Groningen has an airport, actually. Well, I'll be there. Get me over to your land, and I'll figure out how to get over to Groningen. When you were growing up, you had the lighthouses, the light up houses with the train going around the village. When you moved, your parents got rid of them. Aww. I remember my brother had a train set, and sometimes he would put it out. But I think more often than not, it did not get put out. I just always remember it being out for like a day or two, and then I don't know if the dogs would get into it or my brother would get pissed off because probably I was doing something to mess it up, because that seemed to be my job in the house. Somewhere in the middle of rural Germany. That's all I can give you. There you go. I can get much more specific. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. I'm learning a lot about, Scotland, Ireland, Netherlands, Sweden, Finland, just kind of going that whole northern route, learning so much about the geography. I know the basics of where your countries are, but learning places within the country, that is definitely a new one for me. England, I've kind of got some. I know some basic markers, but that's about it. Outside of that, I'm totally lost. I've been to Brussels, and that's it. And that was a day trip stopover when I was headed to Africa. Yep, she's in Germany. All right, guys, I think I am going to get some of this tea that we've been talking about, this chai tea, and not a homemade chai, but next best thing that I can do. Curl up with my laptop and watch some things, get a few more emails sent out, and probably hit the bed early tonight. I'm going to be up before dawn tomorrow. Oh, that sounds so beautiful, Flick. People popping in and out of their houses, some of them ice skating. Wow, that was involved. My mom got involved in collecting like the pieces of villages. Um, she doesn't really have anywhere to put them or display them. So this big, huge ottoman that we have has become the display, and it can't fit anymore. Literally, things are falling off of it because they have no more room to put knickknacks, and figurines. They don't have anything set up just for holiday season, and so we try and keep it contained to the living room, so they don't have to go throughout the house and pick it up. We were never that elaborate in our decorations, though I do think they've got a few more blow up balloons, in the front yard than they ever had. I don't think we had those growing up. Yeah, the little elaborate animated villages Flick is talking about. So cool. I remember those. We never had them at our place, but there was this one place we went for pancakes, I remember, and it had a track above that ran around, and it would add things at different times of the year. But at Christmas time, of course, they put Christmas lights up and the whole thing, and it was pretty fun. All right. That being said, guys, I am out of here now. So thank you so much for joining me. Please remember and share everything. Actually, share all the videos. Share our site if you think anybody could get anything out of it, or they might know somebody who could get anything out of our channel. Please share the videos. Just share our address. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please check your subscriptions because those do kind of go in and out sometimes. If you don't get notifications, check your bell. Make sure it's checked all. Because if you just subscribe and don't actually put your bell to all, chances are you're not going to get all the notifications. I did also put up, there's a thumbnail for Saturday. Remember, it's Laugh Saturday. So come get your groove on with us. We're just gonna laugh. Thendo might be here. David's gonna be here. We are just gonna have a good time, guys, and hope that all of you can join us. And then next week, Wednesday at 6 p.m., we will be talking the ABCs of trauma, going back to the beginning. All right. So if you don't know much about what trauma is, how you get it, how it manifests in your body, that's what we're going to be talking about next week, Wednesday. So night, everyone, or good day. Enjoy your evening, the rest of your day, whatever it is, wherever you are. And I will see you on next one. Thanks. Bye.